In the bold and the beautiful, chaos rarely arrives without warning, but it always leaves devastation in its wake. And now, the woman most capable of orchestrating that chaos is back in rare form. Sheila Carter, no stranger to manipulations and mind games, is spiraling once again. This time, it begins not with a violent outburst but something far more dangerous: insecurity. A deep, gnawing fear that her marriage to Deacon Sharp may not be as solid as she once believed. And from that seed of fear grows a web of deceit, sabotage, and betrayal that threatens to drag everyone around her into a storm they won't escape unscathed. It starts quietly. Sheila watches from the sidelines as Deacon grows closer to Taylor Hayes. Their renewed bond isn't born of romance, at least not yet, but rather out of necessity. Luna Nazawa's survival, long thought impossible, has pulled both Taylor and Deacon into a fragile alliance. They need to protect Luna. They need to decide when and how the truth comes out. But more than that, they need to decide what to do about the mess it's already created. And while Deacon may not realize it yet, Sheila does. She sees the way Taylor looks at him when he's talking about doing the right thing. She hears the warmth in his voice when he thanks Taylor for her help. She notices the quiet smiles, the shared concern, the time spent alone. And all of it burns Sheila alive. But Sheila Carter doesn't react the way most women do. She doesn't yell. She doesn't cry. She doesn't confront Deacon directly, not yet. Instead, she lets her suspicion take root. And she begins to play her game. The first move is subtle. A comment here, a question there. Little truths slipped into conversations with just enough distortion to cast doubt. She tells Ridge that Taylor seems different lately, more distracted. She casually mentions to Brooke that Deacon and Taylor have been spending time together behind closed doors. She says just enough to make people start asking questions, but not enough to sound like accusations. She knows how to dance around the truth better than anyone in Los Angeles. Soon, rumors begin to swirl. Is Deacon hiding something? Is Taylor letting her guard down around the man who was once the source of so much conflict? Are they becoming more than friends? These whispers don't need to be true to do damage, they just need to be persistent. And Sheila makes sure they are. The growing tension isn't limited to just Ridge and Brooke, or Taylor and Deacon. Even the younger generation begins to feel the heat. Luna, already fragile from her resurrection and the complications of her pregnancy, senses the shifting loyalties around her. Poppy feels it too. The people they're counting on, Taylor, Deacon, even Katie, are distracted, unsettled, unsure of whom to trust. Sheila is doing what she does best, corrupting the foundation from the inside. But it's not just talk. Sheila's plans always escalate, and this time, the escalation comes with a cost. As Forrester Creations prepares for a highly anticipated fashion event, one that could launch a new designer, a new face, a new legacy, tensions are already high. Everyone is watching. Investors, media, competitors. A single mistake could ruin reputations overnight. And Sheila sees her opening. She doesn't plant a bomb. She doesn't sneak into the backstage and set fire to the designs. No, she does something far more sinister. She creates an accident. A small adjustment to one of the stage props. A delay in securing a lighting rig. Nothing overt, nothing traceable, but just enough to ensure that when the model steps out in the most important showpiece of the evening, something goes wrong. And it does. In front of a packed house. A structural collapse on stage sends one of the models, potentially Luna herself, crashing down. Lights explode. Screams echo. Cameras capture every second. What should have been a triumphant debut becomes a moment of horror. Panic erupts. The show is halted. Lives are changed. Backstage, chaos reigns. No one knows what happened. Some think it was sabotage. Others suspect incompetence. Fingers are pointed. Tempers flare. And through it all, Sheila remains silent. She knows exactly what went wrong. She knows exactly who's to blame. And she knows that she's the only one who can clear the air. But Sheila doesn't give anything for free. She holds the evidence, video, perhaps, or access logs, or even witness statements. Something that could prove it wasn't Taylor's fault. Something that could exonerate Luna, who might be blamed for mishandling her own safety. Something that could prevent a lawsuit against the Forresters. Or worse, a scandal that would destroy reputations across the board. But Sheila won't release it. Not unless she gets what she wants. What she wants isn't money. It isn't even forgiveness. What she wants is control. Over Deacon. Over Luna. Over Taylor. She wants them to come to her, admit they need her, admit they can't escape her influence. She wants Deacon to choose her, not out of love but out of necessity. She wants Taylor to back off, to know her place. She wants Luna to look at her with gratitude instead of fear. Sheila wants power. And she knows how to get it. The longer she withholds the proof, the more damage the fallout causes. Luna, if she's the one injured, might not just lose her career, she could lose her baby. That uncertainty adds another layer of urgency to the crisis. If Will Spencer is the father, and the accident leads to complications with the pregnancy, his involvement could explode into a legal and emotional nightmare. Steffi, returning just in time to see her family in shambles, begins demanding answers. Ridge tries to play peacekeeper, but he's barely keeping himself together. Brooke accuses Taylor of mismanagement. Taylor, for her part, is drowning in guilt. Deacon tries to defend her, but his word doesn't carry the same weight. The suspicion that he and Taylor are more than just allies grows louder. The very alliance meant to protect Luna becomes a fault line threatening to crack everything open. And through it all, Sheila watches. Quiet, calculated, dangerous. Eventually, someone figures it out. Maybe it's Finn, who's already questioning his motherly's secrets and might start seeing patterns in Sheila's behavior. Maybe it's Hope, who's reeling from her own broken engagement and starts noticing that Sheila is always around when things go wrong. Or maybe it's Daphne Rose, the newest player in town, who's sharp enough to realize that nothing about Sheila's silence is innocent. When the truth finally comes out, that Sheila orchestrated the entire stage accident, that she's been planting seeds of doubt for weeks, that she's holding critical evidence hostage, the entire family is forced to make a choice. Do they expose her, knowing she'll retaliate with everything she has? Or do they give her what she wants and buy a temporary peace? No matter what they choose, the cost will be high. Because Sheila Carter isn't just a threat. She's a storm wrapped in a smile. And this time, she isn't just causing damage. She's demanding obedience. And she'll get it, or someone else will fall. The aftermath of the Forrester runway disaster is still echoing through Los Angeles when Sheila Carter takes her next step. A step darker and more final than anything she's dared before. With the fashion house in disarray, Taylor broken by guilt, and Deacon drifting in a haze of confusion and emotional conflict, Sheila sees her moment. The whispers she planted have done their work. Trust is unraveling. People are turning on each other. And Sheila, watching from the sidelines, wants one thing now: permanence. No more competition. No more Taylor. And she knows just the way to make it happen. She tracks down Poppy Nozawa in the late evening. Poppy, still emotionally raw from Luna's condition and the chaos surrounding her daughter's pregnancy and the accident at the show, is in no shape to think clearly. Sheila plays it calm. She doesn't threaten, doesn't raise her voice. She simply says she's looking for something to take the edge off. Something strong, something that doesn't leave a trace. Poppy hesitates. She's not that kind of woman anymore. But Sheila leans in, presses just enough, talks about pain, about anxiety, about needing help to cope. It's not for a party, she says. Just for peace. Under pressure and blinded by her own turmoil, Poppy reluctantly hands Sheila what she wants. A small, concentrated dose of an untraceable designer sedative. Potent, quick, and dangerous in the wrong amount. Sheila thanks her, sweetly. Then disappears into the night. The next day, Deacon invites Taylor to his apartment. He wants to talk. They've been walking a strange line lately, and he wants clarity. About Luna. About their bond. About what they're doing. Taylor, despite her reservations, comes. She needs the conversation too. Sheila is already there. Waiting. Hiding. She's been planning this moment for days. While Deacon steps out to take a call, Sheila finds the perfect opportunity. She slips the powder into Taylor's water, barely a sprinkle. Enough to disorient, enough to overwhelm. But Taylor, already tired and emotionally depleted, downs the drink in one long sip before Deacon returns. She barely tastes anything unusual. At first, it's subtle. Her breath shortens. Her thoughts grow fuzzy. She grips the counter to steady herself and tries to brush it off. But the world begins spinning. She stumbles, her mouth moving but no words coming out. Deacon turns and sees her sway, his face twists in alarm. "Taylor?" he says, stepping forward. But it's too late. Her eyes roll back. Her body convulses once, then drops. She hits the ground like a rag doll. Deacon rushes to her, panic in his voice, shaking her, calling her name. No response. No pulse. Her skin pale, her breath gone. He calls 911 with shaking hands, trying to perform CPR, but she's not coming back. Not this time. By the time paramedics arrive, there's nothing they can do. Taylor Hayes is dead. Cause of death, apparent drug overdose. Deacon is shattered. This isn't just a woman he once had feelings for. This was someone he trusted. Someone who fought to save Luna. Someone who made him believe he could be better. Her death hits him like a freight train. And as the medics cover her body, he's on the floor beside her, asking the same question over and over. How did this happen? He doesn't know. But someone does. Sheila Carter watches the chaos unfold from a distance. She's not there, not physically. But she sees it all on the news later that night. Deacon's name is in the headlines. Mystery death at Deacon Sharp's apartment. Rumors begin immediately. Was there foul play? An accident? Suicide? Sheila smiles. A cold, satisfied smile. Her rival is gone. Her hands are clean. And no one suspects a thing. Yet, what Sheila doesn't know is that Poppy has started to grow suspicious. The timing. The dosage. The questions coming from the hospital about the chemical compound found in Taylor's system. A compound only Poppy had access to. And when she hears whispers that Taylor drank a glass of water just before her collapse. Something clicks. Something terrible. Meanwhile, Deacon sinks deeper into guilt and confusion. He replays everything in his mind. What they talked about. How she seemed okay just before she started fading. The idea that Taylor, a strong and resilient woman, would overdose voluntarily just doesn't add up. And he starts asking questions. About who else had been around. About what might have happened when he stepped out of the room. The walls around Sheila are starting to tremble. But for now, she savors her victory. One piece removed from the board. One loose thread snipped. Deacon is broken. Poppy is silenced by fear. Luna is vulnerable. And Sheila? Sheila is smart.